The Tolkien Road, Episode 108, The Lord of the Rings, Journey to the Crossroads.
Alright, go ahead. The Tolkien Road, 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 the Tolkien Road,
Hey there, fellow travelers. Welcome to the Tolkien Road, a long walk through Middle-earth. On this episode, we continue our journey through The Lord of the Rings with Book 4, Chapter 7, Journey to the Crossroads. Before we get started, why not hop on over to iTunes and leave the Tolkien Road a rating and feedback? It's a great way to show your support for the show and takes less than a minute. You can also stop by TolkienRoad.com, learn about previous episodes, and say hey. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/TolkienRoad, and you can find us on Twitter via @TolkienRoad. Thanks for listening, and enjoy. Hello everybody, welcome to the Tolkien Road, episode 108, Book 4, Chapter 7, Journey to the Crossroads. What's up, Greta?
Not much.
How you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
So, hey, special thanks to our executive producer, William Hutton.
Heck yes.
And to all of our other patrons. If you want to learn how to become a patron of the Tolkien Road, please head over to patreon.com/TolkienRoad. So Greta, what kind of secret word we got this week?
Well, if I said it out loud, it wouldn't be secret now, would it?
That's true. Well, I mean, more, I was just kind of meaning like what's our...
Oh, just like a secret word date?
Yeah, what's our update? Yeah.
So our secret word from the last episode was chosen by Dr. Hutton, and Amanda guessed it. And the secret word was hedgehog.
Nice going.
Good job, Amanda.
Yeah, good
cool
job.
Word, Dr. Hutton.
Mm-hmm.
So Amanda had the honor of choosing this episode's secret word.
Right on.
So keep a listen out and be the first word. If you think you know what it is, I'm sorry, be the first person to email me at tolkienroadpodcast@gmail.com with what you think the secret word is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will have the honor of choosing our next secret word.
TolkienRoadPodcast@gmail.com.
You got it.
Make it happen.
Yeah, do it.
Do it. All right, well,
let's just dive right in.
Launch in?
Let's do it.
So maybe the shortest chapter in the entire Lord of the Rings, Journey to the Crossroads. It's brief. It's brief as Tolkien chapters go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So things kick off, and really it kicks off with a farewell, right? Faramir's farewell to the hobbits as they continue their journey into the Lion's Den of Mordor. So Faramir wakes them up, and they're still at the secret location, and Faramir wakes them up and kind of has a little conversation with them, and he provides some provisions for them. He says, "May no hunger trouble you on the road. You have little provision, but some small store of food fit for travelers I have ordered to be stowed in your packs. You will have no lack of water as you walk into Ithilien, but do not drink of any stream that flows from Imlad Morgul, the Valley of Living Death. This also I must tell you. My scouts and watchers have all returned, even some that have crept within sight of the Morannon. They all find a strange thing. The land is empty. Nothing is on the road, and no sound of foot or horn or bowstring is anywhere to be heard. A waiting silence broods above the nameless land. I do not know what this portends, but the time draws swiftly to some great conclusion. Storm is coming. Hasten while you may. If you are ready, let us go. The sun will soon rise above the shadow." So things are quiet. Things are quiet in the land of Ithilien, where normally they're not so quiet. It's not that it's always crazy busy, but it's it is a contested land to some degree.
Right.
And so Faramir's just pointing out that, look, this might be a good time to get a move on, because nobody really seems to be out and about. There aren't any orcs, any armies of Mordor that are out and about in the land right now. Not sure what that means. feels a little bit eerie, like a little bit of a calm before the storm.
Right. Yeah.
But now might be a good time to move.
Yeah.
So he encourages them to get a move on. Hey, by the way, I think the map in this chapter is a little bit helpful. So if you go to the close-up view of the land of Mordor and Gondor, usually it's the last map in most editions.
Yes.
If you look at kind of middle, just to the right, right of the Great River of the Anduin, if you look in the North Ithilien area, you'll see Hinith Anun, right? And that's where they've been, right? That's where the Forbidden Pool is, right?
Okay.
They've come down from the Dagorlad, right, just outside the Morannon, which is the Black Gate, right? And they've, in the last several chapters, they've made their way down to Hinith Anun, right? And they're continuing their southward journey from here. And you can see the little road, right, that they're kind of shadowing. They're not on the road, but they're kind of shadowing it, right?
Yes.
And where Minas Morgul is, that's the direction they're heading in, right? Almost directly south. Slightly to the east, but mostly south, okay? And you can see right next to Minas Morgul, there's the crossroads, right?
Yes, got it.
The two roads that cross right there. So that's the
going.
crossroads that's being referenced here. All right, and all of the little like squiggly lines there that are all bunched up, those are the mountains, right? The mountains the mountains of shadow that are the western border of Mordor.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Good to know.
just a little frame of reference for you in terms of what they're traveling in. So they've been given some provision. They exchanged some kind words. I like the little bit about Frodo again. So Faramir completely trusts Frodo and Sam at this point and is willing to just let them go about without a blindfold. But even still, Frodo, wise move, basically says, no, go ahead and blindfold all three of us.
Instead of just Gollum.
Right. Blindfold me first so that he can have a sense that no danger is going to come of this.
Right. Yeah,
right?
that's very wise.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I think shows some compassion towards Gollum as well.
Yes, indeed.
Faramir, finally bids them adieu with some good wisdom, some good advice, and some kind words.
And
he
some
says,
food.
What's that?
And some food.
And some food. Do you want to read this? Here's the last parting of our ways.
Yes. Here is the last parting of our ways, said Faramir. If you take my counsel, you will not turn eastward yet. Go straight on, for thus you will have the cover of the woodland for many miles. On your west is an edge where the land falls into the great vale, sometimes suddenly and sheer, sometimes in long hillsides. Keep near to this edge and the skirts of the forest. In the beginning of your journey you may walk under daylight, I think. The land dreams in a false peace, and for a while all evil is withdrawn. Fare you well while you may. There's that false peace,
right?
Like you were talking, kind of like that calm before the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like dreams are a little bit of a theme in this chapter. with Sam's dream a little later on, and and pretending a false peace and all that kind of stuff. It's a little interesting.
It is
interesting touch.
Yeah.
And then finally he stoops, kisses the hobbits on their foreheads, and said, "Go with the goodwill of all good men." Mm-hmm. So, kind final word, and then Faramir and his men vanish into the forest.
They do.
Quickly vanish, almost as if they were never there.
But then Faramir quickly turns back around. He says, "Wait! You forgot your popsicles!"
That's right, yeah.
So.
Guys, hold on. He followed. Actually, he didn't remember for a while, so he actually follows them a few miles, calling out, "Frodo, where are you? I know you're here.
Come on, it's Cherry, your favorite. Come back. You'll need it for the journey ahead.
Come back, or I'm going to give them to the Black Riders."
I bet they could probably use some popsicles right now.
Yeah.
There's just something really happy and comforting about popsicles.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they're in a place that they need every little bit of happiness and joy that they can get.
I think it was that he actually put the popsicles into their traveling bags and forgot to tell them about them, so they're like melting in there.
Oh.
So they're going to open them up and be like, "What's this?"
Everything's going to be like covered in like sticky goo.
Sticky goo. Ew.
Oh, well.
Come on, man.
Hey, it's a thought that counts.
It is.
If only you thought to put an ice pack in there with them.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Ruh-roh. All right.
Oh, well. At least they have, wine. Wait, do they have wine?
I don't wine.
Sorry, I'm getting this book mixed up with the other one I'm reading, I think.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, moving on.
This is another chapter with a lot of landscapes.
Yes.
A lot of description of landscapes. Again, like I always, whenever Tolkien describes landscapes, I'm like, he knew a lot about like flora and fauna.
Maybe you think he was like was he some kind of gardener or do you know, was that like one of his hobbies?
I'm not sure if he was a gardener, but I know he spent a lot of time in nature and he loved trees.
Yeah. So he was like an amateur botanist.
Especially as a kid, I think he spent a lot of time in outdoors and that sort of thing. But I'm always impressed by writers who can just like rattle off all these different flower types and I'm like, did you have to research this, or did you just know? Like, do you just know these types of things, and like what kind of trees belong in what types of terrain and what climates and all that sort of thing? It's just, I wonder. I can see somebody of Tolkien's time being a little more in tune with those sorts of things, just because people were a little more. I felt like people were a little more in tune with nature 100 years ago, but I don't feel like whenever I see writers do it these days, I'm like, either you grew up on a farm, or you had to research this,
or you hired a botanist,
right?
As part of your
that kind of falls under research.
Yeah, I guess that's probably true.
But just great ilixes of huge girth. I mean, I had to look up what an ilix was, and it's totally ill as trees go. Just saying, totally ill.
Like wicked ill.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So appropriate name. Of course, I know what an oak tree is. The oak tree is about the best I can do. An ash tree, I have an idea that I've seen a lot of them, but I couldn't point one out and be like, that's an ash tree. About the only tree I could point out and tell you what it is. Well, dogwood, I could tell you what that is because they're very distinctive.
Right.
And magnolia tree, because they're very distinctive in terms of their leaves, the waxy leaves and everything.
And they're big white.
Yeah, and the big white flowers. Yeah. And then oak trees, because we have a big oak tree in our backyard. Otherwise,
dropping acorns on our heads.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the squirrels shaking the branches. The giant black squirrels.
Oh, right.
That live in our backyard.
It's not Old Man Oak. I thought it was Old Man Oak. That was up to his old tricks again.
Oh, Old Man Oak.
Yeah. Tree face.
Weird tree face.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've told them about weird tree face.
Oh. No?
The ant that lives in our backyard.
Maybe that needs to be a special standalone deep dive.
Maybe. Yeah. No, we won't tell them about that. They wouldn't find it interesting.
No.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
All right.
So yeah, I just always love his landscape descriptions. Even though half of the stuff I don't know what he's talking about. I'm still like, well, I kind of want to go to there.
But it sounds good.
It does. And, it makes me want to go on a hike. Just in the deep woods.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
I like going on hikes.
I know.
Kind of miss that about living out in, I mean, you can go hiking here, but I miss that about living out in the Washington State area. When we lived out there.
Yeah, we don't have mountains here. We only have rolling hills.
Well, we do. The mountains are a little bit to the east of us. They're not the same kind. They're not the mountains of the Pacific Northwest. Right. They're not the Cascades.
But they are definitely beautiful.
They are. They're beautiful. The Smokies aren't too far, a couple hours from us. So. Gollum knows this area. Frodo at one point says, "Do you know where we are?" And he says, "Yes, master. Dangerous places. This is the road from the Tower of the Moon, master, down to the ruined city by the shores of the river. The ruined city, yes, very nasty place, full of enemies. We shouldn't have taken men's advice. Hobbits have come a long way out of the path. Must go east now, away up there." He waved his skinny arm towards the darkling mountains. "And we can't use this road, oh no. Cruel peoples come this way, down from the tower." So apparently they've wandered pretty far from the road at this point, and they've actually wound up on the western branch of the east to west road, right? So if you look back at your map in the very back, they've kind of wound up a little bit over here on the river side of the north-south road, which was what they were kind of they were kind of shadowing as they came down, right?
I see. Okay.
So they wound up over in this area, and they wound up on the road. And Gollum's like, Frodo's like, "Do you know where we are right now? Are we on the right path?" And he says, "Well, let's not go this way, right? Let's not go to the west. Let's go to the east."
Is that what Faramir had advised? Was to go to the west?
No. Faramir like just kind of gave them, I don't know that Faramir necessarily like did anything other than say, "Man, if you don't have to go that way, I wouldn't go that way." But Frodo's pretty much like, "What else are we gonna do?"
Right, I see what you're saying.
He just wanted them to stay off the road.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Stay close to it, but off of it, right?
Yes.
In case anybody was traveling on the road.
Yep.
So they've got to go back a little bit. They now have to not necessarily backtrack, but go back towards the east a little bit. So they continue traveling that way. This is a several hours journey. There are many miles to cover, and for as small as this map actually looks, is kind of close up. They from Henneth Anun to the crossroads is about, I'd say it's about 40 miles. So it's a good trek, especially when you're not on a flat road, right?
Yes.
When you're walking through a bunch of hilly terrain that's not easy to traverse, it's going to take you a while, right? It's going to take you a long while. And it's eventually they do stop and they rest. And at one point, Sam falls asleep and he has his dream. You want to read Sam's dream there?
Yes. Oh, sorry, I have to turn the page.
Yes, you do.
With me. All right, Sam's dream. Where is it?
Off hunting, I suppose.
Off hunting, I suppose. Too bad we don't have the same copy.
There you go.
Ah, there it is. Off hunting, I suppose, said Sam and yawned. It was his turn to sleep first, and he was soon deep in a dream. He thought he was back in the Bag End garden looking for something, but he had a heavy pack on his back, which made him stoop. It all seemed very weedy and rank somehow, and thorns and bracken were invading the beds down near the bottom hedge. A job of work for me, I can see, but I'm so tired, he kept on saying. Presently he remembered what he was looking for. My pipe, he said, and with that he woke up. Silly, he said to himself as he opened his eyes and wondered why he was lying down under the hedge. It's in your pack all the time. Then he realized, first, that the pipe might be in his pack, but he had no leaf, and next, that he was hundreds of miles from Bag End. He sat up. It seemed to be almost dark. Why had his master let him sleep on out of turn, right on till evening?
Yeah, I mean, like, what do you do with Sam's little dream there?
Yeah, I don't know. I found it very curious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, dreams are just kind of weird in and of themselves,
right?
Because they're so driven by the subconscious,
right?
And
all that stuff that just kind of hangs out in there.
Yeah, it kind of hangs out on there, and I think in a way, I think it's the body's way or the mind's way of releasing, some pent up, maybe worries or concerns or fears or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think?
So, I mean, I find it interesting that he has the heavy pack on his back, which makes him stoop. It's like, he's burdened, right? Mm-hmm. He's back in the Bag End garden looking for something. So
he's kind of in his happy place.
Yeah, but he's burdened at the same time,
Right.
They may be in a place that's a little bit, and the being back in Bag End might just be an association because he's with Frodo. Mm-hmm. But it all seems very weedy and rank somehow, and thorns and bracken were invading the beds down near the bottom hedge. So, things are, things, even though they're in a happy place, things are about to get worse, right? Is almost what it seems like. So,
yeah. Yeah.
But he'd really just like to relax, and that's why the pipe comes into play. He'd really just like to relax and enjoy himself.
He has no
right.
relief.
Right.
So it's like even though he has the means of relaxation, he doesn't have, kind of the critical piece that he needs to complete it.
Right. Yeah, it's Tolkien. Tolkien likes to work in these little dream episodes, to his chapters. It's interesting.
It is interesting.
And he doesn't always explain what they're all about.
No, I think he likes to leave it up to the reader.
Yeah.
Kind of put their own spin on it.
So, just wanted to chat a little bit about Sam's dream. So as they approach the crossroads, things are getting progressively darker in the land, even when it's not night. And it's because they're getting closer to the Mountains of Shadow and to Minas Morgul. And so even though they're kind of, as they journey to the east, they have to dip down a lot because the land is kind of broken up.
Yes.
Even though they do that, they're kind of constantly, even as they dip down, when they climb back up, they end up going even higher than they were before. So it's a lot of, it's a lot of climbing, a lot of up and down, and that can be very tiring. That can be tiring to walk through. Yeah, walk through. Indeed. But the vision they see here, what they see here for a moment, is kind of the little cherry on top of this chapter. Says, standing there for a moment, filled with dread, Frodo became aware that a light was shining. He saw it glowing on Sam's face beside him. Turning towards it, he saw, beyond an arch of boughs, the road to Osgiliath running almost as straight as a stretched ribbon down into the west. There, far away, beyond, sad Gondor, now overwhelmed in shade, the sun was sinking, finding at last the hem of the great slow-rolling pall of cloud, and falling in an ominous fire towards the yet unsullied sea. The brief glow fell upon a huge sitting figure, still and solemn as the great stone kings of Argonath. The years had gnawed it, and violent hands had maimed it. Its head was gone, and in its place was set in mockery a round, rough-hewn stone, rudely painted by savage hands, and the likeness of a grinning face with one large red eye in the midst of its forehead. Upon its knees and mighty chair, and all about the pedestal, were idle scrawls mixed with the foul symbols that the maggot folk of Mordor used. Suddenly, caught by the level beams, Frodo saw the old king's head. It was lying rolled away by the roadside. "Look, Sam," he cried, startled into speech. "Look, the king has got a crown again." The eyes were hollow, and the carven beard was broken, but about the high stern forehead there was a coronal of silver and gold. A trailing plant with flowers like small white stars had bound itself across the brows, as if in reverence for the fallen king, and in the crevices of his stony hair yellow stonecrop gleamed. "They cannot conquer forever," said Frodo, and then suddenly the brief glimpse was gone. The sun dipped and vanished, and as if at the shuddering of a lamp, black night fell. So, cool little vision there of, nature crowning this king again, even though he'd been dethroned.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
There's the resiliency of nature, even though this land has, for the most part, been taken over by the forces of Mordor, evil forces. Yeah. This is almost kind of like a sacramental little sign that nature still views, the men of Gondor as the true kings of this land, right?
It's definitely an image of hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most certainly. So, nice little touch to round off the chapter.
Absolutely. Yeah, we actually had a note from one of our listeners, Gregory Simonson, and he said that he specifically called out this particular part of the chapter and said, "The last episode in this chapter is another of my favorite small scenes. I think Tolkien's poetic style shines through here."
Oh, most definitely.
Absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, great little scene and great image. I'm trying to remember if this is in the film. It's been a while since we're almost there.
Yeah, I know. We're almost ready to watch.
But yeah, beautiful, nice little touch here.
I totally
One of my favorites.
agree. Yep.
Okay, well, did I skip over anything?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
We had a just to kind of sum it up. Matt Scarance, he wrote in some other stuff, but he also noted that he loved the imagery of this chapter. Yeah. He said Tolkien's descriptive and thematic powers are at their greatest. So.
Right on.
Seems to be kind of a common opinion.
They is indeed.
Yeah, good stuff.
They are. All right. Well, on that note, let's do some haiku.
Let's do it. You going first or am I?
I'll go first. Oh, you go first.
Me?
Yeah, go.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 syllables in haiku.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 syllables in haiku.
Haiku! Nice. Alright. Let's do it.
All right.
Who's going first?
Rock, paper, scissors, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, let's do it.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I win.
First or second?
I'm going to go first.
All right.
Alright, here's my haiku for Journey to the Crossroads. Okay, I think I'm ready now.
Yes, you are.
Unlooked for friendship turns evil to good, gives strength for what lies ahead.
Nice.
I wanted to say give strength and popsicles, but
Yeah.
too many
Well, you
syllables.
deserve a popsicle for that.
I do deserve
haiku.
a popsicle.
It's good.
What's your favorite flavor?
Cherry,
Cherry.
without a doubt.
I always.
I like the lemon ones though. I like the kind of. I don't know if you
I like the
technically call them
Minute Maid
popsicles.
ones,
Yeah.
like
The lemonade.
the like those are more like slushies.
Yeah.
They're not like I think of a popsicle as being on a stick.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, I can never decide between grape and cherry. I like them both. The thing I don't like about grape is it turns your tongue purple.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah. Well, I also like the orange. Grape. Over the years, when I was a kid, I liked grape flavored stuff more. But like, I think maybe just drinking more wine, like drinking plain grape juice, has gotten progressively like weirder and
like it's too sweet.
kind of,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting thought. I did a science fair project one year. It was for Jell-O, not popsicles. But I did a survey on who, like, my hypothesis was that, like, I did cherry, grape, and orange.
Mm-hmm.
And my hypothesis was I think everybody is going to like orange the best. And then I did a survey.
Science. It's amazing.
I know. That's the extent of my science career right there. Scared to think I went on to be a nurse.
Brilliant. The conclusion was E equals MC squared. Boom.
Or pi times its radius squared. Anyway.
What?
Nothing.
Pie is delicious.
Pie is delicious.
And then I did a survey of what flavor everybody liked, and it came out pie. It was kind of strange.
Pie flavored.
Everybody seemed to like pie instead of popsicles. Yeah.
Pie flavored popsicle. That sounds delicious.
Well, what kind of pie? Chicken pot pie? That'd be weird.
I think that's like a new thing now, though, with like gourmet popsicles. They seem to be popping up, like in the hipper parts of at least Nashville, and so I'm assuming it's a national thing. But it's pretty brilliant, right? Like gourmet popsicles.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, back to haiku.
Right on.
Go for it. What's
Me?
yours?
Okay,
Yeah,
what's
you.
up? Conquered lands lie still. The good kings of old sleep, yet live on with new crowns.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Can you read it again?
No, you missed it. Sorry.
All right,
You'll have to go back and listen to the episode.
I'll just fast forward to the end. I think there was probably a listener or two that wasn't paying attention either. So
Okay,
we should
fine.
go
I'll
ahead
read
and
it
do
for. I'll read it for them.
Yeah, read it for them.
Conquered lands lie still. The good kings of old sleep, yet live on with new crowns.
Is that only 17 syllables?
Mm-hmm. Conquered lands lie still. The good kings of old sleep, yet live on with new crowns.
That's awesome. Well done, you.
Yeah, I was pretty proud of that one.
I think
you know how long
need
it
a
took
high
me?
five.
You know how long it took me to come up with that?
2 seconds.
Like 15 seconds.
Seconds.
I went with that
Aren't you
line.
just a
I was
haiku
just like,
ninja?
I felt like it, man. I was like, because sometimes it takes me a while. This one, I was just like, all right. And that conquered lands lie still popped into my head, and then just the rest of it came pretty quickly from that.
I'm inspired.
I know.
I love it. That's really good.
Pretty proud. I think that's one of the best ones
I
I've
think
done.
maybe Josh should tweet that one out.
Maybe.
I think so. I endorse Josh. If you
I
wanna
won't
do it.
complain.
I actually, as the lady of the haiku drum, I order you
Ah, there you go.
to tweet that haiku out.
Someone's feeling a little bit full of their power.
Well, it's hard not to be when all these awesome listeners are like writing in and saying stuff like "Hail and well met,
Yes.
Lord and Lady of the haiku drum."
Nice.
That's what Gregory Simonson said.
Boom.
And he also has a haiku.
Awesome.
His is this.
Beer me some haiku.
Do it. I'll do it. All right. Gregory. All right, so he says my last name is pronounced like Simon, son of Jonas. Don't feel bad. Everyone gets it wrong. So I guess we said it's I don't know how we said
Simonson.
it, but it is Simonson.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Maybe we got it wrong last time. Okay, so Gregory Simonson. That's correct. Yes, Simonson. Okay, here's his haiku. Before darkness falls, a sign of hope. The fallen king is crowned again.
Right
Good
on.
stuff. Good stuff. Thanks, Greg.
Good stuff.
Let's see here. Oops. Oh no. What did I do? Oh, here we go. So Matt, this is also in the vein of haiku. He says, Dear Greta and the Perilous. Dear Greta the Perilous and John the Elven Wise. He says, regarding last episode's haiku that I sent in, both of you completely nailed the interpretation of it in a way that I myself hadn't even thought of. I had meant the hopeful to refer to Frodo and the hopeless to Gollum, but you're right that both can refer to Frodo and Faramir as well. Tying it into Tolkien's understanding of pagan and Christian hope was brilliant.
Awesome.
So right on.
Cool.
Good stuff.
Well,
Thanks.
that to me is the sign of a well-written poem, is the multitude of possible interpretations.
You're absolutely right.
That not that it can mean anything, but that it can have a multitude of meanings, right? That kind of, because it links together different aspects of the story.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Different themes. So, good job on composing an awesome haiku.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Good job, Matt. And then he submitted a poem and a haiku. He says, so he mentioned how much he loved the imagery of this chapter, and then he says, my poor attempts at poetry will scarcely do it justice, but he tries.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll let you read his poem, but what's really cool is that his and my first line, very similar.
Oh, wow.
So great minds.
Great minds indeed.
So here's Matt's poem.
Friendship unlooked for, and help given unforeseen, evil turned to good, defiled, not dethroned, golden by westerly grace, virtue crowned again. See the coronal. Oh, is that his haiku? Is that part
I
of the
think
poem?
that's his haiku.
Okay.
So why don't you read the poem again?
Yeah, I'll read the poem again.
Yeah.
Friendship unlooked for, and help given unforeseen, evil turned to good, defiled, not dethroned, golden by westerly grace, virtue crowned again. That's a great poem.
That's really great.
I love the use of alliteration, very Tolkienian.
Yes. Yes.
The whole image of a dethroned but not disgraced king is a very old one.
Defiled, not dethroned.
Yeah, but you can kind of make the same. Okay, I see what you're saying. Where is it? Oh, it's actually disgraced, not dethroned. But if you go to the poem Mythopoeia, which is which precedes the Lord of the Rings significantly for Tolkien, you find the line. Where is it? Disgraced he may be, yet is not dethroned. Right? And that's in reference to mankind in general, right? To the human race, which in Mythopoeia, Tolkien kind of You can go back and listen to our Mythopoeia episode to get a full discussion of that way back. That's close to 100 episodes ago, but it's basically in Mythopoeia he argues that our mankind's status as sub-creator is it's almost like a kingly sort of place, right? It's like a royal, it's like a royal function, and so he talks about man because of sin and evil is disgraced, but not dethroned, right? We still have the capacity to do this kingly function, and so if you think about that, that's a very similar image to what we find in the chapter this week, right?
Yeah, good call.
Disgraced, all these scrawled marks all over him, but not dethroned because of the flowers that crown the king, right? That crown the king's head,
right. Yes.
So
still the rightful king,
right? So you kind of see a I can't help but think that Tolkien intentionally would have connected those two, that his earlier reference from Mythopoeia with that scene.
That he would have, absolutely.
As he created that,
Right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That it was purpose, like he did that on purpose.
Exactly.
Intentionally. Yeah. Okay, that's a beautiful poem. Maybe we'll have Josh tweet that one out too.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll send it to you, Josh. All right. So here's Matt's haiku.
Mm-hmm.
Overachieving poem and haiku.
You may want to send the whole poem. You usually send them to Josh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah. If I want him. To
So
tweet
in that
I
case,
do.
it might be longer than the number of characters, but
see, I'm
he
not
can.
a tweeter,
But what he
so-
can do is he can screenshot the poem and then send it out as an image.
Oh,
right?
okay.
If it's too long. To
Okay,
send out,
okay,
right?
good to know. Good
Yeah.
to know. I didn't know there was a character limit in Twitter world. Okay, so here's Matt's haiku. Actually, I'll let you read this one too.
Okay. See the coronal with gold and silver flowers. Nature crowns her king. Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Good stuff. And that gold and silver too kind of harkens back to the
Mhm.
trees, right, of Valinor.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right, and then we have Amanda.
Cool. What's up, Amanda?
She wrote in a haiku. She says, a little bit of light within the darkness. This is her haiku. Where there's life, there's hope. Fallen king crowned again. Evil turns to good. Similar themes running through
Right.
all the haiku. Awesome. Good stuff, Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Josh, superfan Josh, sent into haiku with explanations. So
Uh-huh.
awesome sauce. Here we go. I'll let you read his first one, and I'll read a second.
As low as deceit, those the words of the valley of black arcana.
As low as deceit.
Yes, and he says, if you are familiar with the Song of Ice and Fire, otherwise the Game of Thrones TV adaptation, the Vale of Arryn is governed by House Arryn, whose words are as high as honor. I found this to be a fun chance to blend Tolkien and GRR works together. George R.R. Martin, yeah, who wrote Game of Thrones,
Oh, okay.
or the Song of Ice and Fire.
Got it.
Okay. Well, we are not familiar with Game of Thrones really at all. I mean, I of course know what it is, but so I'll read it again though. As low as deceit, those the words of the valley of black arcana. So he's playing with the as high as honor words from
From the Ice and Fire.
from the Song of Ice and Fire.
Got
Yep.
it. Got it. Nicely done.
All right, here you want to read a second?
Yep, I'll read Josh's second. They sprout through the miasma, bearing Elpis, the hope for better days. All right, here's his note. Elpis, you think I'm saying that right? Elpis? E-L-P-I-S?
Elpis.
Elpis?
I might say it more like that.
Okay. Elpis is the personification of hope in Greek mythology, though, and I feel Professor Tolkien would have words to this as well, I can't say that he would agree with my use of the goddess in this context. If nothing else, it fit the meaning. It fit the meaning I was going for with regards to the floral crown. But I should think that Tolkien would express the opinion that Elpis would rather fit more in describing Denethor. Elpis, after all, has been the subject of much debate amongst classicists, as per the story of Pandora's amphora, not a box. Negatively speaking, Elpis is understood as expectation, not hope, as we understand it to be. I shall read it one more time with that in mind. They sprout through the miasma, bearing Elpis, the hope for better days. Lovely.
Right.
I love the imagery.
Yeah, I don't know. It's it'd be an interesting question to ask him maybe, but here we've talked a lot about the whole question of hope and despair on with regard to Frodo and Faramir and Sam and the whole situation. There's the kind of they labor in hope, but they're really in terms of reasonable expectation, they're pretty hopeless. I don't know. It's an interesting question.
It is an interesting
Expectation
question.
versus hope.
Right.
And maybe that's a good distinction, when we're talking about what can truly be expected and but the difference between hope and expectation, you know?
Yeah.
Expectation is more like if things continue as they normally would, you know, if we kind of put money, you know, if we kind of put money on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what do we expect to happen? You know, if, you know, if a really great football team plays a really poor football team, you know, if an NFL team plays a high school football team, what do you expect to happen?
Well, obviously,
right?
the NFL team to win. But do you hope that the high school team might upset them? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a very extreme example, but
yeah,
like, and in some ways, it feels like what Frodo is walking into, right? You know, you're talking about this little guy versus these huge armies,
the
right?
ultimate underdog.
And so what's the reasonable expectation? Well, it's certainly not for Frodo's victory, but still they can hope, right?
Absolutely.
And they do choose to hope.
Yeah.
Even if their expectations are severely tempered.
Good stuff.
Anyway.
I totally dig it. Last but not least, as far as Haiku goes, we have one from Superfan Mary Grace. Actually, we have 3 from Superfan Mary Grace.
Of course, I expect nothing less.
I know, right? So I'll let you read her first, and I'll read her second, and then you read the third. There's a note that goes along with the first one after you read it.
Okay. Hopelessly enthralled by the darkness and the ring, slowly corrupting. Nice. The above haiku is about Frodo, who is enslaved. Note the archaic use of enthrall. Yeah. By the ring he carries, and thus is sucked in by Minas Morgul, the tower of dark sorcery. All the while, these things are slowly corrupting his will to go on.
Yep.
Nice.
Good
well
job,
done.
Mary Grace. Good
Back
job.
to you.
All right, here's Mary Grace's second haiku. With one piercing scream, Frodo's old wound is opened. A dead, living scar.
I think some of these might refer to the next chapter.
Oh, because she sent them. I just got them the other day, so maybe they do.
Oh, well, we'll read them next step. Let me see the next one.
My bad.
Yeah. We'll save these for next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Mary Grace, you'll get to have yours read twice.
That's right.
There's a little taste of what's going to happen in the next chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully there's no spoilers in there.
Little teaser for you.
One other note from Mary Grace, though. She said, because you remember her secret word we used recently? It was ineffable.
Mm-hmm.
And we were wondering if we'd used it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, you did use the word ineffable correctly. I thought it would be fun to use because of its irony. Yes, indeed, there is a word for something that is indescribable in words.
Right.
So, anyway, well, good. Glad to know that we used that correctly.
Yep.
We also had a note from David Bigwood. No haiku, but I wanted to be sure to share what he sent in.
Okay.
So, here's what in the world is going on right here? Oh, I see. Sorry, I'm so technologically challenged. Okay. He says, this note from David, he says, Dear Greta and John, I'm a bit behind on listening. However, some comments on the window of the west. When Faramir asks Frodo his plan, it always gives me a lump in my throat. This tired, small, lost person is going to try to enter the very heart of the evil empire. Gondor, for all its power, couldn't do this. Frodo is just going to carry out the task he accepted from Gandalf, who Frodo thinks is dead. Heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And then a note about black squirrels. He says, I've seen some in Toronto. They were all over the university. Very glossy and shiny black. Solid black. Just beautiful. I didn't happen to see any the size of a hobbit. That might have been terrifying. Toronto also had some wonderful elm trees.
Ah.
Keep up the good work, and I'll keep listening.
Right on.
All right. Thanks, David.
Mm-hmm.
Good to hear from you, as always. And thank you all for writing in and sharing haiku and your thoughts and awesome poetry and just, being awesome in general.
Yeah, you guys are killing it.
We have the best fans.
Indeed we do. Thanks to our patrons as well. Our executive producer, William Hutton, as well as our other patrons, Shannon Stockbridge, Josh Sosa, Brian Orr, Margaret Lyon, Emilio Perea, Zeke Farmer, Caleb Santana, James Applegate, Douglas Underhill, and Caitlin Fascista.
You guys rock steady.
That's right.
Bye, guys.
And next haiku will be due on. Let's see here. We'll give it a little bit more of a window because we're actually recording this on Tuesday. We're a little late this week. Had a busy weekend. So we'll say on the 18th. But maybe if you want to push it to the 19th, probably if we'll give you to the 19th. And, even if you get it in a left or that, there's a chance we'll get it on air. So by the time we record, if we have it, it'll get on air.
It'll get on air. We try really hard not to leave a man behind.
That's right. Be hasty to get your haiku in. TolkienRoadPodcast@gmail.com.
And also be hasty if you think this episode's secret word. Let me know what you think it was.
And we shall be catching up on Patreon stuff soon, very soon. Just had a lot going on the last few weeks.
It's a busy time of year. I'm sure everybody understands.
Yeah, things are kind of winding down in a lot of areas for us, though, so that's good.
Right.
Give us some more time to catch up.
Ironically, the winding down always seems to be the busiest time of everything.
Yeah. This is the truth.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. We appreciate you, and we will talk at you next time.
Yes, we shall.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Please remember to check out truemyths.org and tolkienroad.com for show notes and plenty of other Tolkien goodness. Also, if you're enjoying the podcast, would you please leave the Tolkien Road a rating and feedback on iTunes? It's a great way to support the show and takes less than a minute. On our next episode, we'll continue our journey through The Lord of the Rings with Book 4, Chapter 8, The Stairs of Cirith Ungol. Please send haiku or other correspondence to tolkienroadpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and until next time, the road goes ever on.